generally calm people. What made you lose it? Last month I was at Target with my 6-year-old daughter picking up school supplies. She has severe anxiety and gets overwhelmed in crowds, so I always bring her noise-canceling headphones and let her carry her favorite stuffed elephant. We'd just come from her therapist appointment. 3 months earlier, some kids at her school had cornered her during recess, calling her weirdo and freak because of her headphones. They'd thrown her backpack in the mud and laughed when she started crying. The school did nothing, said kids will be kids. Since then, my daughter barely speaks in public. She'd been making progress in therapy, but it was slow. This Target trip was actually a test run. Her therapist suggested we practice being in busy places together. I'd already noticed the woman behind us when we got in line. She was on her phone complaining loudly about her ex-husband, using language that made other customers uncomfortable. Her friend kept trying to quiet her down. When we first got in line, my daughter had actually smiled at the woman's toddler who was sitting in the cart. The little boy waved back, and for a second, I thought this might be a good experience for her. Then the woman noticed my daughter's headphones, and I saw her face change. She whispered something to her friend, and they both stared. I pretended not to notice, but my daughter caught it too. She moved closer to me. We're in the checkout line when this woman behind us starts getting impatient. My daughter drops her elephant, and when she bends to pick it up, she accidentally bumps the woman's cart. The woman rolls her eyes and says loudly to her friend, "Some parents really need to control their kids better. This generation is so entitled." I stayed calm and helped my daughter up. I could feel my daughter's hand shaking in mine, but I squeezed it gently and whispered that we were almost done. The cashier, a teenage girl who looked barely old enough to work, was struggling with the register. It was taking longer than usual, and I could sense the woman's frustration building. That's when I heard her phone ring. She answered it right there in line, her voice getting louder with each word. She was getting increasingly agitated, swearing every other sentence. Her own toddler started getting fussy from her raised voice. Other customers were staring now. The poor cashier looked mortified. I was about to suggest the woman maybe take the call outside when something happened that changed everything. My daughter, who'd been quietly listening to the woman's conversation, suddenly looked up at me with tears in her eyes. In her small voice, she whispered, "Mommy, is that lady mad at her little boy too?" My heart broke. She thought this stranger's anger was directed at children, just like what had happened to her at school. Then my daughter, trying to be polite and maybe ease the tension she felt, turns around and says, "Sorry, miss," in her tiny voice. The woman, still on her phone, looks down at her and snaps, "Maybe if you weren't such a weird little brat with your stupid headphones, you'd pay attention." The words hung in the air like poison. I watched my daughter's face crumple. All the progress we'd made in therapy, all the confidence she'd been building, shattered in that moment. But this time was different. This was a grown woman, a mother herself, deliberately choosing to hurt my child. That's when something inside me shattered. I stepped between them and unleashed years of suppressed rage. I told her exactly what kind of person attacks a child in public. My voice carried across half the store as I described her miserable existence and how pathetic she must be to bully a 6-year-old. I asked her what kind of mother teaches her own child that it's okay to mock other kids. The words poured out of me like water through a broken dam. Every injustice my daughter had faced, every time I'd bitten my tongue, it all came flooding out. She tried to interrupt, but I kept going, louder each time. Security had to escort her out while she was crying.